Saturday's qualifying session is in the books at Albert Park this weekend, and there's plenty to dive into. So here at GP Fans, forget the news about what's going on around the world of F1. This is our recap of everything that went down in a thrilling qualifying session as the sun started to set on Saturday at Albert Park. Now follow us here at GP Fans for content throughout this weekend of the Australian Grand Prix and through the 2022 season. But now let's dive into the recap. The first session of the Saturday was not exactly an uninterrupted affair, as Nicholas Latifi and Lance Stroll had a collision on a cool-down lap, with both drivers blaming the other as the Williams man went to overtake the Aston Martin of the Canadian. Now neither driver came out ahead in this incident, as both were spun out of the session as a result, failing to make Q2, along with Alex Albon in the other Williams, Kevin Magnussen in the Haas, and the Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel, who has had a torrid weekend so far on his return to the sport, with engine trouble in FP1, no running in FP2, and a crash 20 minutes into FP3 on Saturday, as well, of course, as the early exit in qualifying. There was bad news for another elder statesman of Formula 1, as Q2 saw an end to the streak of Valtteri Bottas's 103 qualifying sessions, making it into Q3 after the Alfa Romeo seemed to struggle when it mattered most, as he and his teammate Zhou Guanyu were unable to challenge for the top 10 and make it into the final part of the session. Similar misfortune hit the AlphaTauris of Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda, with Mick Schumacher also falling foul at the end of the session, as a late run from Lewis Hamilton and Esteban Ocon secured both Alpines and both Mercedes into the top 10 shootout, along with the Red Bulls, Ferraris and the two McLarens. Now Fernando Alonso brought out the second red flag of qualifying in Q3. The Spanish driver was on a flying lap when his Alpine lost hydraulics mid-corner at turn 11. Unable to change gear, the 40-year-old driver ended up bidding his car and taking a scooter back to the garage, not on the track like Sebastian Vettel on Friday, thankfully. The delays meant the evening sun started to dip down behind the Melbourne skyline, and light began to either dwindle or blind the drivers at various parts of the circuit, giving the spectacle a far more dangerous feel as the session got back underway with around 6.5 minutes left in Q3. Sergio Perez looked to knuckle down and stick his Red Bull on pole for the second weekend in a row, but his flying lap was 1/1000th of a second off the early leader Charles Leclerc, with the Ferrari man able to get his opening run in before the Q3 red flags. Max Verstappen in the other Red Bull pushed the limits as always and sent his car to the top of the pile with a 1 minute 18.154, but Leclerc was down the road and gunning it in setting a purple time in Sector 1. The Monegasque driver ripped up the new look Albert Park track with a 1 minute 17.868 to take pole, with Carlos Sainz struggling in the sister Ferrari, unable to get in a preparation lap before his final run of the session after his first qualifying run was nullified due to the red flags of Alonso. The Spaniard could only secure 9th on the grid. So the top 10 reads like this: Leclerc, Verstappen and Perez are the top 3, as we've become accustomed to already in 2022, but it's Lando Norris who joins them to make up the top 4 on the grid as McLaren look to make steps forward this season. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell complete a trio of British drivers down to 6th, with Danny Ricciardo 7th, Esteban Ocon in the Alpine 8th, Carlos Sainz 9th and Fernando Alonso 10th. It was a bit messy, the free practice 3 session for me, and I managed to do some good laps, but not everything together, said Leclerc after qualifying. In Q3, I managed to put everything together, so it feels great, and I'm very happy to be starting on pole tomorrow. Max Verstappen was looking ahead to Sunday after explaining that the weekend, especially the Saturday, had been a struggle for every single lap so far. Probably in the race pace, everything stabilises a bit, said the Red Bull driver. But for me, this weekend so far has been all over the place. Of course, I am happy to be second, but as a team, we want more. So the Ferraris look strong again, but Carlos Sainz falling foul of those red flags of Fernando Alonso have just screwed the pooch slightly when it comes to his race day. And what about McLaren finally finding some power as the track seems to be coming to Lando Norris and Danny Ricciardo this weekend? What's going to happen on Sunday? We want to know your thoughts in the comments as always, and follow all the action on the live blog at gpfans.com this weekend.